After a long wait, Lohen from the Knights of Favonius has arrived. We have a lot to talk about today, from his design to the rumors surrounding him before his release, so let's get right into it. Starting off with the main rumor, there was talk about Lohen going on the standard banner. Seeing as our last standard banner character was Mizuki over a year ago in February of 2025, it wouldn't be outlandish to think a new edition would be coming up soon. In terms of the new lunar reactions and Hexerai buffs, Lohen was still not the strongest unit to be coming out, and his constellations weren't exactly crazy either. This was anecdotal evidence that this might really be a brand new standard banner unit. Characters that go onto the standard banner have a better chance of obtaining their constellations, even if those constellations aren't the best. Seeing as we may be getting a new standard unit soon, this boosted Lohen's appeal even further. Not to mention that his signature weapon is stupid strong, and I think it takes priority over trying to pull for his main constellations. Unfortunately for Lohen fans, there would be buffs to his kit towards the end of the beta cycle, and he would be revealed as another limited 5-star character. As I've stated in my Why Genshin Remains Greedy video, I have no way of knowing if the developers changed their mind after seeing so many players really like Lohen. Maybe he really was intended to be a standard banner unit and got swapped at the last minute. I can't say for certain, but I am personally sad that he is not joining the standard banner pool. I was hoping to get Nicole and then maybe get Lohen later on the anniversary selector, or get Lohen's weapon now and then get him later on the anniversary selector. Now I have to skip Nicole, who would be a great addition to my Varka teams and Lohen's teams. We're about to get into his design, but there's one last thought I want to get out regarding Lohen's release. I think it's really crappy of the developers to have Lohen's best teammates run together at the same time right before he releases. Durin is fantastic for Lohen to constantly melt, and Nicole provides pyro support and application with her shielding. You're probably going to see a lot of Lohen's best teams include at least Durin, if not both of these premium 5-star characters, which further adds to the problem I just talked about in my Death of Genshin's old meta videos. Feel free to watch those after you're done with this one. You don't get to pull for individual characters anymore, but rather entire teams. I won't be surprised if there were players who initially planned to pull for Lohen or his weapon who are now just gonna skip him entirely because of these developments. Now, let's get into his design. Right away, I see that there is a more muted color palette for Lohen. He relies heavily on various blue gradients and uses both white and silver to help break up the various shapes. I'm so glad they didn't use too many gold accents and instead relied more on the silver for his armor and the accent colors. Speaking of armor, I'm so happy we finally get another character with some armor again. I know he doesn't have a lot and it's really just his shoulder piece, but it's refreshing to see a combat heavy character actually care about what they're wearing for defense. I also like that he has a little crossbow on his one wrist that ties him into his position within the Knights of Favonius. He may prefer close quarter combat, but this crossbow does get put to use in his trailer, for example. I can easily tell from a quick glance that he is part of the Knights mainly due to that cape style, which reminds me of both Eula and Kaya. I like how the strap against his chest is actually functional to hold his shoulder piece, and you can see the belt wrap around his back as well. Having the back of his cape be the brightest blue of his design makes Lohen pop and helps prevent him from getting too muddy with the colors. My one nitpick about his design is his thigh strap. The only reason I could see him having this is if his knife has a holster attached to this thigh strap. I think in one of his animations it's implied that it's this. If not, then we have yet another male character with a random thigh strap slapped onto them. Seeing as there is no holster attached to this strap, I'm more so inclined to believe that this was just slapped on, which is kind of frustrating because he does have a good reason to have a thigh strap for his knife. And with his animation implying that he puts his knife away near that thigh strap, why couldn't they just add a little holder for it? Before I break away to talk about the splash art, I do want to mention his eyes. There seems to be quite an emphasis on his eyes in the trailers, and I wonder if that's going to be an important part to his character. Like Child, Lohen doesn't have any light in his eyes, but his eyes blend into a deep red. Not only that, but it's the only drastically different color on his design, which tells me the designers probably wanted his eyes to be emphasized. Were his eyes always like this, or did something change throughout his life? I guess we'll have to play the story to find out, and as of writing, I've not played a story yet. Future knocks on my phone here. I have played the story quest now, and don't worry, I won't spoil it, but I gotta say, I'm kind of disappointed. He didn't even get a full-on cutscene, and that just sucks. As for his splash art, I am so happy that there is negative space between all of the harsh angles. I really like how the ground is breaking from underneath him, and the subtle purple to dark blue gradient is fantastic. It makes me think that he's in Nod Cry fighting the Wild Hunt. The ice shards help symbolize his cryo element, and with Lohen loving a good fight, we see him wielding both his pole arm and his knife at the same time. As far as splash arts go, this is isn't the craziest one we've seen, but I think Lohen's splash art gets the point across rather clearly. A lot of characters in Genshin Impact are smart, thoughtful, or always 2 steps ahead of everyone else. As such, it's refreshing to get a character that's a bit unhinged and all in for a good fight. Heck, in one of the trailers we see him poisoning the other knight's drinks as a test, and he even tried to pull the same stunt on Varka himself. One of his mechanics is called Joy, for goodness sakes, and you can raise it by smacking the enemy around. I think it's safe to say that he's got a few screws loose, and I'm very curious to see how his story quest will unfold. As of writing the script, I've not played the quest yet, but I think it would be absolutely hilarious if he had a normal upbringing, a normal loving family, and he just turned out this way. But I have a feeling we might be in for a more tragic backstory. I'll have to come back to this video and see if my prediction here has any merit. We briefly talked about Lohen poisoning the other knights in his first trailer, but I really want to discuss his second trailer really quick. Look, I like Lohen and I'm going to be pulling for him, but this trailer just feels so forced. It feels like something an edgy teenager would drum up, especially with the Russian roulette gun scene. I'm also really sad that Genshin doesn't do the cool transition to the official artworks anymore. He'll go through his entire trailer and after Fade to Black, the screen shows with his official artwork animation. It just doesn't nearly hit as hard as it did in the past. You know, we used to have animation transitions match right when the beat drops, and it was just so cool and left a long-lasting impact. For me, Raiden Shogun's trailer is among my favorite, with the transition and the beat drop matching perfectly, for an example. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed, please leave a like and consider subscribing. If you really like the content I make, I do have channel memberships available for just $1 a month. I have a playlist dedicated to the Let's Discuss series that you can watch next, and let me know in the comments which character you would like to see covered in the future. For those of you who participated in my Dream Gacha character event, I've actually just hit the halfway mark in terms of reading all of your submissions. You are not making it easy for me to choose just 5 of your characters to draw, and that is a fantastic problem to have. You all are so very creative, and it's been a blast going over your submissions thus far. I hope to see you in the next one.